The Greenville Knights of Columbus Council 7438 will host their annual Mayfest fundraiser on Saturday, May 18th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus Hall on Sunset Strip in Greenville. Join the Knights for a day of great fun, food, and live music with Mike Castleberry and the Blues Doctors. A kids zone will feature a bounce house, snow cones, and games. Enjoy shopping at the Vendor and Craft Fair. Adult tickets are $17 and children $5. Come out and support the Knights of Columbus and their charity projects.
Hi, this is Walter Crawford with the Catholic Homeschool Conference. On June 7th and 8th, we will be hosting an online conference for Catholic homeschoolers. There will be live and pre-recorded talks, rosary to start each day of the conference, interactive workshops, parent networking, and much more. More information can be found at CatholicHomeschoolConference.com. That is CatholicHomeschoolConference.com.
Now that my healing has begun, I finally have a sense of freedom from that shame.
I never thought that I'd be forgiven for the choice I made so long ago. Now I know I've been forgiven.
I kept my abortion hidden from everyone, but God knew. He knew I needed healing.
Are you suffering with the burden of a past abortion? Come on a Rachel's Vineyard retreat and release your burden. Call 214-544-CARE.
Attending a Rachel's Vineyard retreat allowed me to feel God's grace.
I know now that I'm not alone. I was able to share with others who have been down a similar path.
All I had to do was show up and let God.
Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
Well, welcome everybody to this week's Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network. We're glad you are with us. This is a unique program within the GRN because we only go across social media. We are not on the radio. And it's also unique in the subject matter in that we tackle every single week some topic related to the Summa Theologia by St. Thomas Aquinas. It's a book that I picked up about 12 years ago, read it all the way through, and it fundamentally changed my life, and I hope it will change your life as well, because there's a reason St. Thomas Aquinas is called the angelic doctor. He's the patron saint of all Catholic education. He's the doctor of the doctors, the common doctor. He's a pretty big deal in the Catholic Church, and it was all because he had great love of Jesus Christ. He said that he learned more and was more inspired by placing his head against the tabernacle than all of his studies. Late in his life, he was found levitating by one of his scribes, and Jesus asked him during that encounter, Jesus said, "Thomas, you have written well of me. What would you like as your reward?" And Thomas said, "Nothing but thee, my Lord." And so he had a great, deep love for Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, after that encounter, he stopped writing the Summa because he said, everything that I've written has been like straw. So we were the losers in that regard. But I think it also highlights the fact that we can't just study about God. We can't just know about God. We have to have that relationship, and that's something that I have always struggled with a bit. And so we learn about God here, but we also want to take it to prayer, take it to adoration, and contemplate the things that we talk about on this show so that we can grow deeper and deeper in love with Jesus Christ. So that's what we're doing today. And I want to tell you a couple of things. First of all, we have Sissel Anderson behind the Glass in the control center. Sissel, good afternoon. Now, Sissel's going to leave at some point, okay? And it's not going to be because I said something to offend her, okay? It may be that I offend her, but that won't be the principal reason she has to leave. You have to leave for a pretty exciting reason.
Yeah, I get to be a chauffeur in the most exciting way possible to pick up Debbie Georgianni from the airport because we have a big event happening here in DFW where Dave and I are right now.
Mm-hmm. I remember, gosh, it was about 5 years ago, I was asked to be one of the hosts of Pledge Drive up in Buffalo with the Station of the Cross, and they were going to team me up with Debbie Georgianni. And so I was like, wow, that's kind of intimidating to be on with Debbie because Debbie's like all over the radio. You know, back then she was on with Jerry. And so she came and got me at the airport, and she was just like, you know, exactly like what you see here on the radio. I mean, she's pretty much exactly the same. Very friendly, very engaging, and it was fun to work with her that week up in Buffalo. And so the reason Debbie Georgianni is coming into town is because I want to show you a graphic right off the bat. And this relates to the topic of the show today because we are going to talk about angels. And have you ever wondered, well, first of all, what are angels and why do they exist? You know, why is it necessary? I am a firm believer that every single creature is necessary, even the mosquitoes, even the scorpions and the venomous snakes. You know, there's no such thing as a bad creature. They're all good. They're all necessary. But what about angels? What's up with the angels, you know? And I think it's been a while since we've tackled this topic, Sissel, would you say?
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's always been one of our, more popular show topics, I think. When you see the title of a video being like, what are angels? I think it intrigues a lot of people.
So you're saying this is going to go viral. This is going to go wild,
I'm
crazy on the
internet.
internet.
It's going to go viral, but I don't know. It has the potential of going viral. You never know.
All right, so here's the graphic. And if you are watching this on a recorded basis, this event may have already happened, so sorry. It was a lot of fun. Sorry you missed it.
Also, let me just say I'm so sorry to our Instagram folks because for some reason the PowerPoint's being a little finicky, and I don't think it's showing up for them right now. So it kind of goes to a blank screen when we go to the PowerPoint, so we'll need to be careful.
Sorry about that, Instagram.
Sorry, Instagram.
Yeah,
you're not getting the love today.
Not getting it. So I'll have to just explain what I'm talking about. But what it is an event. As of this live, showing, we're doing this on a Friday, the 19th of April. Well, tomorrow on Saturday, the 20th, there's going to be an event in Dallas at the Terry Center, and Debbie Georgianni and Adam Bly are coming in, and they're going to do a live radio show from the center, and we're going to have a cool, throwback, classic, golden age of radio set, and we're going to be, at least some of us are going to be dressed, in the period with the fedoras. And so now you got a special dress for this, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much to tell me to go looking for a costume for an event. So I was excited. I found a 1950s kind of style dress that's got a little tie up here, and it's burgundy.
See, I don't even know. I can't even imagine what they wore in the 50s.
It's
I guess I'll find out.
A-line dresses is kind of what it is. Just very, very, very simple pattern that's kind of goes the skirt goes whoop.
Okay.
So,
okay. Interesting.
And Toya got me a hat and little gloves, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun. And pearls being all.
Is Toya dressing up?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess you'll have to come if you're in the Dallas area to find out.
Believe me, I'm coming.
Yes, Dave. I was hoping you were coming because I was not going to do all your duties tomorrow.
Yeah. I hope I do my duties. All right, so we would love for you to come if you are watching this live or maybe on Saturday morning and you have access to the Dallas area. It's going to be at the Terry Center. Get there about 6:30. And the graphic here actually has a little QR code, and that's a cool thing. You can actually put your phone right now up to the screen and do the QR code. I think you can get your tickets that way.
I'm also going to put the link in the comments so everyone has it.
Okay. And by the way, speaking of comments, if you are watching this live, we really love your comments. If you want to tell us what's on your mind, what you think about this topic, maybe what you think of angels. Have you ever experienced an angel? I'm sure there's maybe one person out there who has had at least what they think might have been an angelic experience. I mean, I've had one time in my life when I wonder whether it was the angels that saved my daughters from a rip current in the Atlantic Ocean one time, but I'm not 100% sure that was the case. So anyways, if you want to come, the tickets are only $10. And in fact, if you're watching this program right now and you'd like complimentary tickets, okay, just email kath@grnonline.com and we can set you up with some complimentary tickets. So let me, go to the next graphic. And we're talking about the angels. And there's, I think, two reasons why St. Thomas Aquinas is referred to in the Summa as the angelic doctor. All right. Do you remember me talking about this before? So my theory, I don't know if anybody ever explained it officially, but why St. Thomas Aquinas is called the angelic doctor? I think there's actually three reasons.
Okay, so I know he's he represents chastity a lot, so I don't know if it's something like that.
That's one of them.
Is that one of them? Okay.
That's one of them. Because angels obviously can't be unchaste. They don't have bodies. They can't have lust.
Is it because he talked a lot about the angels?
That's number two.
Oh, sweet. I'm 2 for 3.
Two for 3. One more.
That one, I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I think I have an idea
when
for the
I say
last one.
you're going to say, oh, of course. Okay? So it should be pretty easy. No pressure. Okay?
I don't think I know.
All right. So the angels are really intelligent. Okay, they have minds that are much brighter than ours. It's like infused knowledge. Okay, but you got 2 out of 3. I mean, you got a 66 on the test. You know, that's enough.
For my competitive spirit, this is not good.
So he's really smart, like angels. He's had the gift of purity that was given to him when he was up in the tower. When his brothers stuck him up in a tower, and all he did was study the whole time. And they put a prostitute up there with him. And he chased the prostitute out. And it was said that at that moment, God gave him the gift of purity because he was going to have to focus so much in his writing that he would not really be able to deal with the distractions that the average person deals with, because you really have to focus on what you're writing. Okay, so that, and then also, as Sissel said, he wrote a lot about the angels. Now, I've got a cool little graphic here. I'm not going to show you a lot of actual text from the Summa on this show, but Thomas does ask.
Everyone just wipes their brow. They're like,
yeah. Yeah, so there's just a couple of these, but I wanted to read this one. And by the way, when you see in the parentheses there, ST1, 50, 1, that is Summa Theologia, Part 1, which is called Prima Pars, Question 50, Article 1. Okay, so that's what that means. Okay, Question 50, Article 1 of the first part of the Summa. And he says there must be some incorporeal creatures. And so there's your definition of an angel. It's an incorporeal creature. It's a creature without a body. And the only creatures that don't have bodies are, angels, because God's not a creature and every other creature has a body, right, of some sort. And then he says, for what is principally intended by God in creatures is good. Okay, now that's a powerful statement right there. What God intends for us is good. Okay, that we could do a whole show just on that sentence. Okay, that some people think that God is punishing us. We learned about Arthur Schopenhauer, who thought this whole will to live was just this sinister plot to drive us crazy, and and so there's been a lot of bad philosophy to thinking that the force, so to speak, out there is for evil and not for good. Thomas would not have agreed, and this consists in assimilation to God Himself. Okay, so again, we could unpack every single part of these sentences. It's really, really good. And the perfect assimilation of an effect to its cause is accomplished when the effect imitates the cause according to that whereby the cause produces the effect. All right, so that's all I'm going to read from that. But basically what he's saying here is that the angels are closest to God, and God created the angels through His intellect and His will. Okay, He knew them and then He willed them. And that intellect and the will is an angel. And an angel is intellect and will. That's all they are, okay? They don't have bodies. They don't have passions. They don't have physical desires, that kind of thing. And so that's what he's getting at. So I'm going to also show you a little illustration. You're going to have to be kind of quick on the slides here, because this first slide, you see the one that just has a rock? Okay, a big stone in the bottom left. You got that one up there?
Yes, I got
okay.
that.
So what I'm going to do is kind of go through what we call the hierarchy of being. And this is going to explain why I think it's necessary that there be angels, okay?
Remember, for our Instagram folks, just picture a rock, guys. We're going to try to figure that out for next week, but Instagram's going blank for that for the PowerPoint. So,
okay. Do we have anybody on Instagram?
Yes, we do. We do have a few folks on Instagram.
How funny.
So I'm
probably have more people on Instagram watching that can't see it.
Yeah.
Well, why don't they just go to YouTube?
Well, they could, I guess, but they're on Instagram, Dave. They don't want to go to No, yeah. If you do want to see the actual PowerPoint that we're talking about, you can go to YouTube.
Yeah, and I have a question for you. If you're on Instagram, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical about Instagram viewers, but I'm curious, how old are you, if you want to tell us? Because Instagram typically attracts younger people. And it's great if you're young. I teach the Summa primarily to high school kids. I go into a Catholic school and teach them, and I also do it online for high school kids. And so I'd love to think that there were some young people, maybe in their 20s.
That'd be awesome.
Most of the real young people are
We do have a comment, and it's a comment really, it just says, I love Sissel, because obviously.
Seriously, did you put that?
Now, hang on a second. Hang on now. No. It's someone I know.
Oh, okay. A friend of yours?
Yes.
It's not is it a fella?
No.
Oh, okay.
That is not where I'm letting Dave know that I'm dating somebody.
Oh, okay,
that is not how that happens.
Yeah, that's how I was going to say, hey, we can redirect the show right now. And
Dave's like, please spill the tea. Yeah. Let's find out what's happening. No. Our lovely friends at Haroldine Smoke Goods. One of the owners.
Oh, awesome. Well, I met them, and they're awesome people. So the hierarchy of being means that there are different levels of being, okay? So on the very, very low end of being, you're going to have inanimate objects like a rock, okay, that don't have a soul, all they are is physicality, right? And then next slide, on the very high end of the hierarchy of being, you have pretty much the exact opposite in that you have pure spirit, which is God, okay? God is intellect, God is will, he's also infinite, he's good, he's perfect, he's immutable, okay? So between a rock and God, wow, there's quite a chasm, right? But now we're going to start filling in the gaps between these two, okay? And so as you rise up a little higher than a rock, what would you think would be the next thing a little higher than a rock? Higher than, and remember, I'm only going to show about 4 more pictures, so don't get too into the weeds, but here's the picture, okay? You got something like a plant.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing up is a plant which has a soul, according to St. Thomas Aquinas. But it's a vegetative soul. It only kind of keeps the plant alive and kind of moves nutrients through it, and it is able to absorb sunlight and water, and it has life functions, right? So it's animated, but it's not much. It can't feel pain. It can't think. It can't will or have intellect or anything like that. And so then you move up to the next stage.
Sorry, I was looking at the comments.
Oh, what did somebody say?
Instagram is the cool place, Dave, is what they're saying. It's where the cool people are. People are responding to your how old
really?
And then one person said they're 40.
Oh,
so,
okay.
See,
hey,
I think your hypothesis is not working out right now.
So you're saying that's old?
No, whoa. I'm just saying. You're saying.
How could you interpret it any other way?
Oh my gosh, this is not supposed to make me look bad.
Every other 40-year-old.
Well, you're saying. I thought you were talking about like teenagers,
No.
Well,
I mean, most of the teenagers are in school,
wiser.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I was saying. And so much cooler.
No, I will admit, I typically think of your average like Instagram user as being like a teenager, maybe 20s, but and I'm 57, so a 40-year-old to me that's young.
Okay, you know what? I never said that, so just we're moving on very, very, very quickly.
Yes, we are. Thank you, 40-year-old, for being on Instagram watching, okay? And Sissel will keep track of all the comments that come through. Okay, so as we move up the ladder of being, the next one is a very broad spectrum of what we call sensible creatures, right? That these have sensitive souls. They have the nutritive element like the plant does, but they also can feel pain. They have the senses. They can taste and touch and smell. And, for the most part, not every single, creature like this. So I'm depicting this as a dog, right? So we're moving up the hierarchy of being, and then the next one, of course, above the dog and the other sensitive creatures would be good old human beings. And now you've made a big leap because you not only have a creature that has a nutritive or vegetative soul like the plant, and a sensitive soul like the dog and the cat and the grasshopper and the moth, but now you have added intellect and will. Okay, so you have what I like to say, a very complicated, beautiful, amazing creature. All right, so as you can see, there's a gap there between the human being and God. And to the left of the human being, you have these lower creatures. And so I think what God has in mind is that there has to be some kind of symmetry, where if you're going to have a creature that's only physicality, like a rock, if you're going to have a creature that's only has a nutritive soul, only has a sensitive soul, and then you kind of put it all together with a sensitive soul, nutritive soul, and intellect and will, it only makes sense between the human and God to have a creature in between, and that would be something that is in its essence higher than a human, but lower than God, but still a creature. And what do you think fills that gap, Sissel? That's a tough question.
Is this a trick question?
Just the first thing off your mind. Just whatever comes to your mind. Okay.
Angel.
An angel.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So
Pass that test.
Does that? I mean, if you're out there watching or listening, tell me, does that make sense? I mean, you'll probably be sharing this diagram at, Thanksgiving this year. I mean, it's kind of a fun way to explain why angels exist, So anyway, so that's basically what Aquinas is getting at here. He's saying there's got to be some creature that, even above man, because man is like amazing. And really, when it all comes down, the world was the created world was created for man, and all these other creatures are really kind of at our service. Even the angels, their very name means messengers. They're bringing the message from God. They're helping us. We have guardian angels and that kind of thing. Okay.
So as a recap: rock, plant, animal, human, angel, God.
God. Yes. Yeah.
I got it. All
You
over.
could probably make a song out of that.
You could.
Yeah.
It's like a little children's, we have all the Bible songs and things. There should be like a St. Thomas Aquinas, children's songs. It should be like rock, plant, dog.
That's what amazes me about the guys who are on before us during the 11 o'clock hour, Jeff and Paul. These guys can make up these songs, and
it's crazy.
I mean, it's amazing.
We should put them on this. They should do the St. Thomas. It should be an extension of St. Thomas Aquinas for everyone.
Yeah.
Children's songs about St. Thomas Aquinas.
And have Paul Coker write them all.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, he'd be pretty good. And Jeff's good as well. All right, so now we're going to go kind of quickly through some of the questions that St. Thomas Aquinas asks about angels. And if you're out there, let us know what's on your mind. Let us know also where you are. Now,
we got another comment,
by the way. If you say your age, you're kind of leaving yourself open to
Sissel critiquing it accidentally. Real quick, we do have some comments from Nicole. She is watching us on YouTube. And she is listening while she works. So hello,
good.
Nicole. Thank
Thanks,
you for
Nicole.
joining us. And she is 53 and loves Instagram. So.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so Sissel's like, don't say anything.
I didn't say anything. I said nothing.
Did you think anything?
No. There's nothing going on up here.
Okay, all right. So Nicole, thanks. Glad you're watching. You're kind of in my age range. I'm in my 50s as well. All right. So do angels assume bodies? Now Thomas is going to say here, yes, they do. But I love the way I actually heard Debbie Georgiani explain this on her Take Two show the other day. An angel assuming a body is kind of like us putting on a costume, which of course we will be doing tomorrow when we, dress up as we're in the 50s. So an angel doesn't have a body; it's not part of their nature. But on the other hand, it's not in the nature of a human being to not have a body. All right, so you think about separated souls in heaven right now. If I were to die right now and my soul and my body separate, which is the very definition of death, my corpse stays here. The separated soul goes off for the particular judgment. But neither of those are a human being, right? That's a very unnatural state, and as I like to say, that's why we're freaked out by ghosts and corpses. Nobody likes ghosts and nobody likes corpses. Well, some people like chasing ghosts, but that's kind of weird. But it's always seeking union, okay? The human being always wants to be united, soul and body, because it's unnatural to not have that union between a soul and a body. But with an angel, it's just the opposite. If an angel assumes a body, that's unnatural. They're doing that for the purpose of helping us, assisting us in some way, but it's not in their nature to have a body. It's, again, they're just putting on like a costume, right? And Thomas basically says, hey, all over Scripture, people are seeing angels and they're seeing something physical, and that's proof enough that angels do assume bodies. And there have been a lot of people who have claimed to see angels, Mother Angelica being one of them on many occasions during her life. She claimed to see St. Michael, and it was happening all the time. And I think, personally, that if you don't have a disposition to possibly believe that you might encounter an angel, you're either not going to encounter an angel, or B, God isn't going to send it to you because, or maybe you missed it. Maybe an angel came. You ever think about that? How many people actually
did have an angel encounter and they don't realize it?
Totally slipped by and they didn't even notice it. I would bet you that's more cases than not.
Oh, it has to be. Yeah. There's a lot of times people are just not in that mindset to be able to acknowledge that was an angel. I think there's I don't know. I think each Protestant denomination is a little bit different, but I do remember growing up that there were a lot of denominations that really didn't go, not that they didn't believe in angels, but like they didn't believe that angels still would, we would still encounter angels today.
Yeah. Why would it be any different? I mean,
do you think, I have no idea, but I do remember distinctly at a sleepover that my sister and I were at years ago when we were little, them talking about angels and things like that, and people coming back, or that kind of thing, oh, they were saved because this thing happened, and us kind of being like, well, I don't think that's true, because the denomination we were in at the time was kind of not into that.
There's that. Do we talk about that movie, The Veil Removed? Yeah.
Is that the little short film that talks about when Mass, when heaven meets earth?
Yeah.
So cool.
That's so cool. And you see all these angels. It's only like 5.5 minutes. I highly recommend it. In fact, I was going to show it to my class today, but
I'll see if I can find it and link it in the comments.
Yeah, do. It's called The Veil Removed, and you actually see the physical angels. And I always wonder that. In fact, I asked Debbie Georgiani this on the air the other day. I said, if you could turn on flip a switch and every angel was exposed, as in the sense of we get to see them, how many would be around? You ever thought about that? Because and Debbie said basically, my guardian angel would be here, and because an angel isn't a place, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Sissel's angel would be there, but would there be some other angels kind of hanging around, because I don't think all angels, well, certainly not all angels are guardian angels, because you've got archangels and different kinds.
You just casually have an archangel just sitting,
Yeah, I mean, they could just be here in the room. And
that's wild.
And, and just also, one of the, I teach the history of philosophy in addition to the Summa Theologia, and one of the common marks in the history of philosophy where philosophers disagree, it has to do with metaphysics. It has to do with universals. It has to do with, basically, is there something going on beyond what we can see, touch, and taste? Now, as Catholics, we believe certainly that's the case. I mean, every one of our sacraments has matter and form, okay? The form typically are the words, but the sacraments provide grace. Well, you can't see grace, all right? You can't see the theological virtues, all right? And so when it comes to angels, if you shut off everything that exists other than what you can sense, like a guy like David Hume did, who is a radical empiricist and a very skeptical philosopher, if you cut that off, you've cut off a large part of what it means to live. And I would also say, the satisfaction that you're going to have in life is cut off because you're only in the here and now of what you can physically see. And I just think that's a horrible way to live. So anyways, and that's why God, he has to put the costumes on angels, because sometimes the angels are doing tasks that require, a body. If they're going to lift a car to rescue somebody, an angel can't do that because they don't have bodies, and you need a body to lift a car. And so that's why they do assume bodies. So
real quick, I did post that link to the Veil Removed short film in the comments. But also, I wanted to say hi to Lori, who's watching from Houston, and she loves the topic.
All right. I know Lori in Houston. Okay. Well, thank you, Lori. I'm glad that you're watching. And by all means, comment and we've always the show is so enhanced by your comments, and believe me, I'll just talk and talk and talk, and so Sissel's keeping an eye on that, and I love the subject matter. In fact, like Sissel said earlier, I think angels are one of the topics that is a very, very much of interest to people, and if you have not studied what St. Thomas Aquinas says about the angels, you're in for a treat, because I've taught this many times, but if you're hearing it for the first time, I think you're really going to enjoy this. So the next graphic shows three things that are very much not at scale, because that would be one monster ice cream.
Oh, man, I'm so disappointed that that's not a sale.
Oh, man.
And for the benefit of those not seeing it, it is a massive ice cream cone.
Yeah.
And a doggy, and then a lady, but the ice cream cone is as big as the dog, and then the lady.
Yeah, can you imagine having an ice cream cone as big as you? Man, that would be awesome. It would all melt while you're trying to finish it. Okay, so the question is, Prima Pars, question 52, Article 1, whether an angel is in a place. And I think a lot of people who don't know much about angels don't really think about this. And that's why, in the old days, they'd say, how many angels would stand on the edge of a pin, because they're trying to just say, okay, an angel's in a place, but how much space do they take? And the answer is yes, an angel is in a particular place, okay? My guardian angel can't be here next to me and sitting in the control room with Sissel at the same time, because if that was the case, then the angel would have a certain element of infinity, and only God is infinite. God can be everywhere at once, and God can be in there and he can be here because he's everywhere, right? But not an angel. An angel is in a place. And so you ask, well, how is that? Okay, so here, I told you there wasn't going to be much script, but here's a little bit, okay? In the next slide, Thomas says, it is befitting for an angel to be in a place, yet an angel and a body are said to be in a place in quite a different sense. A body is said to be in a place in such a way that it is applied to such a place according to dimensive quantity. All right, so it has physicality, and it's in a particular place, but there is no such quantity in the angels, for theirs is a virtual one. Consequently, an angel is said to be in a corporal place by the application of the angelic power in any manner whatever to any place. Okay, so now here's kind of an explanation. So an angel does not have a body, but they have an intellect and they have a will. Okay, so they intellectually think of want to be in Paris. Okay, Paris, France, not Paris, Texas. And then they apply their will to that thought, and voila, they're in Paris, France. Okay, so by the very act of their will.
How convenient.
I know, but that's going to be how we will be in heaven, according to St. Thomas Aquinas. Even with our bodies, we'll be able to just will our location wherever we want to be. Okay, at the very end of the Summa, Thomas talks about the state of the resurrected bodies, and that's what he calls agility. All right, and that's because the body will be perfectly obedient to the mind. And because right now, our bodies are not typically obedient to our minds. And I know that when my alarm goes off at 6 o'clock in the morning and my son is saying, Daddy, get up, the alarm clock's going off. And my mind is saying, get up, get up, get up. And my body is like, I don't think so. I don't want to get up, right? Because we're at war within our very bodies and our minds, right? But that will not be the case in heaven, okay? So... and then I already kind of explained this one. The next one, question 53, Article 1, can an angel be moved locally? And he says yes. The angel moves through an act of the will. He applies virtually, where he wants to be, and then he goes. And I'm using the he. Angels don't have sex because you have to have a body to have sex, okay? Because a spirit doesn't have a gender, so to speak, right? All right, so the next thing is question 55, Article 2, whether an angel understands by species drawn from things. And so I am going to, I think you might remember this exercise, Sissel, that I'm about to do. I'm going to put something up on the screen, and I want everybody out there. And I'm going to pause about 10 seconds, okay? So do we have some folks out there still?
We should, yeah.
I haven't chased anybody away yet.
Not yet. It's getting close, though. So, if anyone chased anything away, it's probably me. Let's be real.
Okay, I gave you a pretty hard time about the comment to the 40-year-old, but
you know what's terrible is I know who that was.
Oh, really?
Someone else I know.
Oh, so that okay? They're not offended. They know you. They knew.
Or they're just never going to talk to me again.
They know your intention. Is anybody else still commenting on Instagram? By the way,
not currently, but we have a couple people there.
I wonder why.
Well,
A couple people still watching there.
Yeah. There are.
Okay. So, so here's the deal. Okay, I'm going to wait for at least one person to answer on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to put this up, and this is kind of silly, but just play along. Okay. The first thing that pops into your mind when you see this picture. Okay, there it is. Okay, what popped into your mind?
So
okay,
whoa,
let's see if anybody. That is a tough one, isn't it? Okay, did anybody get it? And it is kind of I'm just being silly, right? But
I feel, but so the Instagram people have absolutely no idea what's happening.
Okay, I put a picture of a butterfly. Okay, up on the screen. It's kind of like a monarch butterfly. So you might say monarch.
The delay is real, though. I think we're gonna get the comments in a minute.
The struggle is real. The delay is real.
The delay is real.
And so the point is that we, all of us human beings, we know the idea of what philosophers would call butterflyness.
Oh,
right?
Lori said resurrection was the first thing she thought of.
Oh,
so that's really cool.
She's going a little deeper than what I had in mind.
And Nicole says transformation.
Oh man,
wow.
You guys are.
Y'all,
I think you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong class. Okay, I'm teaching this at like a 6th grade level, and you're like, you guys are going much deeper than what I'm going.
I just thought butterfly.
But I will say, since they mentioned resurrection and transformation, that St. Thomas Aquinas in the Summa does use it later on the Summa, the point that within the created world, we see the mystery of God. Okay, and most of the time we miss it. Like in the middle of January, we have these bare trees outside that have no leaves on them, and it's bleak. And then as it gets to be about March, you start to see these buds growing on them. And then by April and May, there's all these flowers. And then by the time October rolls around, they die and they all fall. And then, rinse, lather, repeat. And Thomas would say, come on, everybody. God is imprinting in nature a cycle of resurrection. And as one of the wonderful ladies pointed out, I mean, come on, you get this grubby, little caterpillar that crawls in and creates a cocoon and comes out this gorgeous, beautiful butterfly. I mean, God's kind of like, people, can I make it any more obvious that I'm putting in nature signs and ideas of what I'm going to do to you? Not that we're little grubby caterpillars, okay, but what our resurrected bodies are going to be like in heaven is going to be so much more beautiful. And there's a quality of the resurrected body called clarity, where we will literally shine. And we will have different levels of shining. Like Sissel may shine brighter than me. Okay,
I mean,
I'm not guaranteed.
I will say I think I'm more lit right now than you are. So,
well, lit has a lot of different.
That's true.
You been drinking or
lit? Whoa, that's not the lit I was thinking of. Okay. I was thinking of like the Gen Z slang.
Oh, I got you. Okay,
no,
because lit can.
No, by the way, Brandon on Instagram says wonderful was his first reaction.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that's what he was saying.
When he saw, but he didn't get to see the picture.
He didn't get to see the butterfly. Well, actually, maybe he's just saying wonderful about the show. Either way, thanks, Brandon.
Let's take it. Let's take it as it right. We'll hunt for compliments. So.
Also, Dave, I'm probably gonna have to slip away just so you know.
So is Joe gonna read the comments?
Yeah, Joe will come back and take over from.
Okay. I better hurry because we got to be finished by 2:00. But all right, so
we're having too much fun.
Yeah, too much fun. Okay, here's the point. Why did I put a butterfly up there? That we know butterflyness, we know the essence of butterflies because we've seen butterflies. Okay, otherwise you would have no idea what a butterfly is if you had not experienced a butterfly, because St. Thomas Aquinas, following Aristotle and John Locke, say that our knowledge comes through the senses. Okay, there's an animal called an aye. Okay, aye. You ever heard of an aye? Probably not, okay? But if you did a search on Google and you look up an aye, it's a real thing. But the reason you don't know what an aye is because you've never seen an aye until you do the Google. Knowledge is infused at the moment that they are created. And everything that they need to know is already in their minds at the moment that they're created, and they don't go about learning things, okay? They're created, they already know butterflyness. They already know what a cow is. They already know the periodic table. They already know, there's 12 inches in a foot. These kind of things we have to learn. They don't have to learn them. They already know them, okay? So that's why in this question, when he says, do angels understand by species drawn from things? The answer is no, because they don't draw species from things. St. Thomas Aquinas has this really cool thing that he calls abstraction of phantasms. And it's one of my favorite things to talk about is abstraction of phantasms. It's how we kind of like recognize what things are, okay? A dog walks by your path and you see it, and you don't think refrigerator or microwave oven or grub worm, you think dog. But the reason you know it's a dog because you've abstracted its phantasm, okay, in Thomistic language, all right? So anyways, that's kind of deep, but we'll do a whole show sometime on human epistemology and how we come to know things and how that relates to God and our ultimate beatitude. And it's pretty interesting stuff. It really is. Okay, so related to this, if you understand that angels kind of come to know everything at the moment they're created, the moment they're created, St. Thomas Aquinas says, they also receive their judgment. And the reason being is that at the very moment of their creation, since they already know all that they need to know about Jesus and the Blessed Mother and God and the Trinity, that this is all already infused in them, they're ready to make their decision, okay? We are not ready to make decision until we've kind of progressed a bit. And I'm being made fun of by Toya. We haven't made our decision. We need to learn, okay? That's why, a 4-year-old child who's been baptized dies, God forbid, is going to go straight to heaven because they haven't learned enough to be able to be judged. But we collect all the information, and then by the time we get to be 7 or 8 years old, we've reached the age of reason, and we're ready to we can be judged. So angels are different, and so at the moment they're created, in the next instant of their existence, they have to make a decision for or against God. And Scripture tells us that many chose for God, many chose against God, and those who chose against Him are the demons. And those who choose for Him are the blessed angels. And ever since then, the demons are their will is directed against God because it's an irreparable decision that they made. And the holy angels have decided for God, and so they are always going to be in a state of beatitude and in glory with God. And those are the ones that are like our guardian angels that are trying to help us, right? So that's how that all works. And, okay, so that's that. And then there's just a couple more things that I'm going to tell you about. And Joe, if you're able to get to the next slide, do you have the one about speaking? Does an angel speak to one another? Do you see that? There's like a man and a woman staying next to each other. Okay. Whenever I show this picture to like high school kids, they always say, man, that dude looks like he's really mad. Like, okay, but that's not the point. The point is that the woman clearly is communicating with the guy, right? She's telling him something. Okay, we don't know what she's telling him, okay, but the point is what she's actually telling him. In the next slide, you'll see, Joe, that there's a little banana split there. So she was explaining to the guy what she had for dessert at lunch. Okay, so now we know that she's talking to him about a banana split. And the point is that the words that she spoke describing the banana split, and it was a banana, it was ice cream and cherries and whipped cream and all that, the words were coming out of her mouth, but it started in what Thomas would call an interior concept, a concept in her mind that she had before she spoke it. Like right now, the next concept in my mind that I'm going to communicate is in my mind, but I haven't spoken it yet, okay? So if you now take away the spoken words because angels don't have voices and you just realize that they have concepts in their mind, how is an angel going to communicate that concept in their mind to another angel? And we'll go to the next slide. And this is kind of fun. I'm going to read this one, okay? So it's not that much. It says, to understand how one angel speaks to another, we must consider that The will moves the intellect to its operation. Now, when the mind turns itself to the actual consideration of any habitual knowledge, then a person speaks to himself. For the concept of the mind is called the interior word, okay? That banana split in that lady's mind, the interior word. And by the fact that the concept of the angelic mind is ordered to be made known to another by the will of the angel himself, the concept of one angel is made known to another, and in this way one angel speaks to another. For to speak to another only means to make known the mental concept of another. Isn't that cool? Okay, so the angel, having not a mouth and the ability to produce words, merely wills the concept to another. So if I see Joe on the other side of the glass there, and I want to will something to him, like, okay, there's something, hey, don't forget to bring something to the event tomorrow night, but instead of saying the words, I just kind of send it over to him, okay, and then he receives it. That's the way the angels communicate with each other. How do we know? There couldn't be any other way, you know? They don't have words, they don't have mouths, right? But they do have intellects and they do have wills, and we trust that they communicate with each other. So there really couldn't be anything else. Okay, so just a couple more things real quickly before we close out this program. And let me see. And by the way, I'm only on YouTube, and so I don't know. I think Joe maybe we've had some comments on Instagram. Is there anything that's coming across, or it doesn't look like anything else on YouTube? But Joe will be. And then, are we on Rumble? Yeah, we are on Rumble, but no comments on Rumble. Okay. Come on, anybody watching on Rumble? No. Okay. So all right. So a couple more things here, and then we're gonna release you to your weekend, and you'll be like, oh wow, that was pretty heavy stuff. My goodness. All right, but no, this is kind of fun, isn't it? Okay, the 9 choirs of angels. Okay, so Joe, can I put you on the spot? Do you want to try to guess any of the 9 choirs of angels? You know, like the 9 different types of angels. Do you want to guess a couple of them, or do you know any of them?
Yeah, sure. I definitely know archangel, seraphim, cherubim, and then powers, dominion.
Oh wow, man, I'm impressed. So you just got 6 of them, didn't you?
I think so.
Okay, so you got angels, archangels, seraphim, cherubim. Those are the ones that I think most people would figure out. But then you said powers
and dominion
and dominations. Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes they're called dominions, sometimes called dominations. So you got 6. We got 3 more, and let me see if I can remember them. And I'll show you a graphic here in a second. There's one called virtues. Okay, there's one called principalities. You've probably heard of them because these are all in Scripture. Principalities. That's how we know the names of them. Virtues, principalities, and thrones.
Thrones.
You didn't say thrones.
I did not say that.
So, all right. So the graphic here that will pop up will show you the names of the 9 in order. So the seraphim are the highest, the angels are the lowest, and where they are found in Scripture. Okay, so these aren't just names that Thomas Aquinas made up. And I will say that there is some disagreement among church fathers about the exact ordering. I don't know if many people are sitting around these days debating the order of the angels, but back in the day they did, because as some of my students will say, they had more time in their hands than we have trying to figure this out. But anyways, and every angel has a different responsibility. All right, so like seraphim and cherubim, for example, don't like interact down here below. Okay, they are way up there with God, and they are doing much higher level things. You know, it's kind of like in a business structure. You know, you might have the president who is not doing the same thing as somebody kind of on the lower level who are doing different, maybe more menial tasks. The president's doing more high level type of activities, right? So those are the 9 orders or choirs of angels. And then Thomas says in the next graphic, is every man guarded by an angel? And he says, you know, it's interesting with this one because he doesn't come out immediately and say, yes, every person's guarded by an angel. But he says it's very likely that that's the case, you know, because it does say in Matthew's gospel that their angels in heaven are watching over them or something along that line. And so it's very likely, and you have to believe in angels to be a good Catholic. And I do think that the Catechism does mention that there is a guardian angel that watches over every person. And so why would you not want to have an angel? I mean, it's kind of cool. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to show you is one of the more interesting parts of the Summa on the angels. And the last graphic, I don't know if you have it up there or not, Joe, says whether men are taken up into the angelic orders. Okay, so we just learned the angelic orders from the seraphims and the cherubim and the thrones and dominations and powers and virtues and archangels and angels, right? Principalities. So he's saying when we die and if we get to heaven, are we going to be in those orders? Now, it's not saying will we be angels, because we can no more be an angel than we could be a cicada or a grasshopper, because it's a different species altogether, okay? We're never going to change our species. But he's saying here, okay, will there be kind of like different levels within heaven? And might there be some human beings that are kind of like on the angel level, and then some like on the seraphim level, okay? And I'll read this paragraph. He basically says yes. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's very scriptural to believe that not everybody in heaven, everybody's perfectly happy, but your happiness may be on a different level, okay? I like to say some people could be very happy going to McDonald's. Some people could be very happy going to a 5-star restaurant. Clearly, the 5-star restaurant is better, but in both cases, they're happy. But they're just happier with something at a lower level, right? All right, so this is the last thing that I will share with you. And, okay, so I see, so y'all were guessing on these things, okay? Prince... I see Grassroots Catholic. Is that Keith? I think we got Keith watching.
That's Keith in there.
Man, we got
really
Keith.
Appreciate it. Keith watching our show.
We have made it. Okay, Keith Downey is there. Good to see you, Keith. We had a little preview of this when I was talking to Keith on Tuesday morning, and so Keith can actually see that now that we're talking about the exact thing that I talked about on Tuesday. Lori Powell, thank you for guessing the. You said principles. That's kind of like where the kid goes if he's acting up in school. But principalities. He said he's not happy after eating at McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I know Joe Loney likes McDonald's.
That it is delicious.
Man,
it's a guilty pleasure.
You and Kent are
it's where
soaking
we go
that stuff up.
When we're going into work, it's a lot easier to grab that.
Yeah.
As unhealthy as it is.
Guilty as charged, man. I'm right there with you. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is now you look at this paragraph and you're like, oh man, it's a lot of words. I read really fast, okay? So let me just read through this. This will be the last thing, okay? Bear with me here, and this will be the finish, okay? The Lord says of the saints that they will be as the angels of God. Okay, that's in Scripture, so that's inerrant, okay? So the saints will be as the angels of God. He didn't say the saints will be angels of God. He said they will be as them, okay? It's like a simile there, right? The order of the angels are distinguished according to the conditions of nature and according to the gifts of grace. Considered only as regards the grade of nature, men can in no way be assumed into the angelic orders, for the natural distinction will always remain, which means he's saying we'll never be angels, okay? But the angels, like a seraphim, will always be a seraphim. A seraphim isn't going to get demoted to becoming a throne or an archangel, okay? That's kind of like we're always going to be a human being. We're never going to be grasshoppers, and we're never going to be koala bears, right? Okay, in view of this distinction, some asserted that men can in no way be transferred to an equality with the angels. But this is erroneous, contradicting as it does the promise of Christ, saying that the children of the resurrection will be equal to the angels in heaven. So now we got a dilemma. If we are equal to the angels in heaven, but we're not angels in heaven, we're still human beings, how can we be equal to the angels in heaven if we're not angels in heaven? Okay, did that make sense? All right. For whatever belongs to nature is the material part of an order, whilst that which perfects is from grace, which depends on the liberality of God, and not on the order of nature. So with us, it's going to depend on the grace of God. God, in our response to that grace, whether we're going to be a seraphim human being or a angel or a throne or a domination or any of those things, right? Therefore, by the gift of grace, men can merit glory in such a degree as to be equal to the angels in each of the angelic grades, and this implies that men are taken up into the orders of the angels. All right, so, I might be a throne human being, in the realm of the thrones, and Joe being so holy, he's going to be like a cherubim, human being. He's going to be on the level of the cherubim. Keith Downey, he's like the seraphim. He's way up there. Okay,
definitely.
But he won't be able to make fun of us because that would be very unseemly to somebody in heaven. So he'll be like, that's all right, man. You're
He'll get that demotion real quick if you do that for us.
He gets knocked down to being like an angel human being. Okay, so all right, that pretty much does it. All right, so now ask yourself, do you know more about the angels than you did 52 minutes ago? I mean, be honest, okay? I love teaching this. I think the angels are fascinating. And the angels, again, they're at our service, okay? So in the Old Testament, the angels brought the message to the prophets, okay? So what was received by the prophets, by Isaiah and Jeremiah, was given to them through the mediation of angels, okay? That's just... you'll see that in the Catechism, okay? And but it's they're pretty fascinating, okay? Let's see. So somebody's talking about Happy Meals. So yeah, Keith could get downgraded. I don't think it got downgraded. I think once you get your place in heaven, man, you're there. You're there forever. So, all right. Any other comments on the other sites? Okay, nobody. Okay, if you're watching on Rumble, throw us a bone and just say, hey, I'm on Rumble. And we got about 2 minutes until we close out the show, okay? If you're on X, any comments on X? I don't know if anybody's watching on X, but Instagram, YouTube was pretty active, and so thanks for that. All right, well, we do this every week, and a couple things before we depart. If you want to join our mailing list, we typically send out emails every week and say, hey, here's the topic. This is what we're going to be talking about, something related to the Summa or philosophy. Just email backtothefather@grnonline.com, backtothefather@grnonline.com. And we would be very, very happy to put you on the email list, and then you can be reminded of the show every week. Most Fridays, 1 o'clock Central Time, we do Back to the Father. If you have suggestions for topics for the show or any criticism, like, I don't like Joe Loney. I think he did no, nobody would say that. Like, I don't like the host. I wish Joe would host it and not that Palmer guy. We're open to any suggestions. Okay, Sissel has hosted this program a couple of times. She has. And maybe you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you want to be part of our studio audience. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Be great to have a studio audience.
Studio audience, yeah. But you just can't make fun of us during the show because it really hurts our feelings. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you, Joe, for sitting in. Sissel had to go pick up Debbie Georgiani. And don't forget, if you're in the North Texas area and you want to join us tomorrow night, we're going to be at the Terry Center of Jesuit, 7 o'clock live broadcast. From the Terry Center of the Spirit World with Adam Bly and Debbie Georgiani. It's going to be a great, great event. We hope you can be there. If you want to buy tickets, just go to grnonline.com/TSW Live. Okay? Thank you, Keith and Lori and Nicole and everybody else who commented, also on Instagram, and if you're watching on Rumble as well. And have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a very blessed weekend. And thank you for joining us and participating on Back to the Father this week, a production of the Guadalupe Radio Network. God bless you. Good night. Do you have the outro?